Somebody in the comments said, what happened to that big old grey microphone you used to use? Greetings, one and all. Now, this is a strange setup. I'm on the Earthworks Ethos, and here I have the SV33, both of them, for the moment, with their grills off. I'm not going to leave it that way for very long because I keep hearing considerable blusters. I don't want to damage them. Anyway, before I put the grills on, I wanted you just to hear what they're like without the grills, because you may want to, it might be more revealing of the differences between them. I'm going to back off a bit here because I've got to watch the breath. And you might want to use them in a studio without the grill and use a separate grill. Certainly, perhaps, with the Ethos, whether the separate grill would make much difference to this one, I don't know, because it's very transparent. If you're clumsy with the SV33, you might want to leave this on and even have an additional fine grill, because it really is very transparent there. Anyway, if I move here and make sure my breath is there, what you're hearing at the moment is the Ethos without the grill, and this is the SV33 without the grill. What do I notice immediately? What I noticed immediately was a bit more and a little bit of something I can't really describe. Just an openness which I can't really describe. Let's look at the top before I put the grills on, because I'm hearing a few boofs and I don't want to damage things. So it's the Ethos here. To my mind, very similar up there. To my mind, slightly more extended at the top and sweeter. Going to put the low end and then put the safety back in place. Sorry about that. Shouldn't face it really, should I? Ethos. Ethos. Had a couple of blunders there, so I'm going to put the protection back on. I'll go through again, see what difference that makes. One thing you might like to know, well, I've got my dad's old dental calipers here, slightly rusty, but they're all right. And as far as I can tell, no discernible difference between the housings, at least. Okay, we're back into the realms of sanity and safety. Somebody in the comments said, what happened to that big old grey microphone you used to use? And I thought, well, I know what's happened to it. It was over there, and I'm so lucky that I've got this as well. Now, I was using this with the Icon Pro grill because I've done some tests on the foam. So both of these I've looked at extensively, so you can see. Obviously, I'm using something as a reference mic. I'm on the Ethos at the moment as a reference mic, so I wanted as much as I could get in terms of clarity and everything else to compare to other mics. So I was using the 33, which I'm going to switch to now. And on the 33, I would, because I used it for recording as well, I'd be back and forth with it, in and out of the thing which I use for recording, and across the road and in a bag, and at school sometimes as well, which is why it's in its rather strange radio mic clip. It's got its own mount, but you have to unscrew the mount. And so this, I've just got one of these radio mic clips at school on one of the stands. I'll just whip this out. That's why it's got this rather strange rubber band around it, because it fits in, but only just. So you only have to knock it, and it would spring out. If I do that with this round it, it springs out and just sits there and hangs, doesn't fall to the floor. So that's what that's about. Earthworks noticed that and asked me, well, what's that about? That's what it's about. So it's convenient for me, lucky me, not to have to keep doing that. Bearing in mind my requirements, whatever I was using needed to be as good as it could be to compare to other mics. Though bear in mind, I'm mostly doing stage vocal mics, so perhaps it's all a bit overkill. But anyway, you may as well hear the differences. So that's what happened there. That's why it wasn't around so much. So I got this, and there was a bit of confusion about whether I actually had a prototype, which this says, or the production version. So there's a bit of delay, but then they sent me the new foam. So I'm going to go back to the Ethos. So now I've got the production Ethos, and I looked at the foam, and it does make a little bit of a difference, as you would expect. I'm sure they've designed that into it in terms of the frequency response. Talking of which, let's have a look. They're not to scale really, but I've drawn some red lines across so you can see. With the SV33, I'm going to switch to the SV33 now on my speaking. With the SV33, you can see that it's pretty much flat right down to 30 at 5 inches away, which is probably where I am now. Remarkably flat, just go, well, really, flat. Up to 10k, really, those little amounts, so I don't think it'll make any difference sonically. Then a little dip around 20 kilohertz, and it recovers a bit. Up to 30, by the look of it, blimey. Is that 30 there? Yeah, this starts dipping and dips off after that. So that's the SV33. The Ethos, which I'm going to switch to now in sonically as well. The Ethos that doesn't have the dotted line, does it? No, it doesn't. Pretty similar then, but with a bit of a rise, looks to me around 500. But, yeah, a bit more, maybe it's difficult to see. But then perhaps more noticeably, a little bit lower, going down to around about, what's that going to be? So that's 10 up there. Yeah, it's a little trough around somewhere, which you'll have to figure out, work out, and then recovers at 10, and then goes down a bit, and then stays flat a bit up to 30. So I don't know whether you're going to hear all that or not. Okay. This is the Ethos then. Here I am, some distance away from it. I'm going to get closer, getting closer. You can hear it's very smooth. Closer, going right up to it. And now, if I was using it for voiceovers and wanted it for some special effect type things, I'm right on it now with my lips touching the foam. And as I've said before, I can sneakily, if I want to get a bit more, I can go around the side there. Oh Lord, and get closer still. If I wanted to do that. This is the SV33, moving a bit closer, moving closer, very nice, moving closer still, until my lips are right up against it, which is where they are now. If I move round to the side, I haven't really done that on this because I haven't really felt the need for it, but if I move round the side and go there, it doesn't really sound so good. So, but I get enough right there. Difference then for the low end for you. 33. There I am right there. There I am right there. There I am right there. Ethos. There I am right there. There I am. So you can hear a difference there, yes? Of course, broadcast mic. So you're not going to be doing that. But just to let you know, and your voice probably won't maybe go as low as mine, you might want to think about using it for everything perhaps. Considerable price difference. Price difference. Price difference. Considerable price difference. I'm thinking, maybe that's that little hump. Onto the 33. It's difficult to tell because a 33, can you hear, brings in a to support it so it doesn't leave that so exposed. I guess for broadcast adds a bit of clarity. For me, the Icon Pro was too much in that direction. I guess coming back to this, depends on what you want to do. Obviously, what's the price difference? I was going to say, this is $699 when I looked. This is $2,399. So I was just saying there, just comparing them for the first time in a long time. I'm going back to this one, but it's not, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to keep putting it. Where is it? Let's carry on. Polar pattern as best I can. Polar pattern as best I can. This one's meant to be supercardioid, I believe. Gonna have to do this. Gonna be some noise. Polar pattern. This one's meant to be supercardioid. So you can hear some leakage there, and then round to the side you can hear the rejection there. It's tight, and then coming around to the front, we're back on very even, going round, very even. Apart from when you get into that lobe at the back, which is quite bassy. This one, 33. 33 is part of their thing was a very wide cardioid pattern. So here we are, moving it round, just about there's a slight change in tone, I feel, bringing it back on axis, very smooth up to there. When I get to there, there's a slight change to me. What is it? Kind of a hollowing out a bit. I can hear the top and a bit of a and something missing. Going round further, and you start to get the attenuation, and then all you can hear is the room there and a little bit of just the top and the low. So it's a wide cardioid pattern, and you can read up about all this. The idea being, with the 33, that it would pick up much more of what's going on here and here, everywhere. That's the idea of it, to capture the whole thing. Pops and handling, both of them for handling, very good. So 33. This is a noisier boom. Good boom, the Rode, but it rings more than this solid triad Earthworks, triad Orbit. But good. Pops, obviously this one. Pops. We've done this one before with that foam on the front there. Pretty rock solid. This one, in my experience, I've done some recording with it on the 33 now, and I use it handheld. Can occasionally get a pop if I'm being clumsy. Pops, as you can hear there, just a little pops. But again, as I say, pops. We go slightly to the side there, not directly into. And what about who. Very well managed there, even as I'm doing it at the expense of some. I know they're different mics as well. I'm not going to swap the tops. Just to the expense of some detail. Who. But without the expense of detail, you could hear there occasionally woof, woof, woof. What you gonna do? Glad it's not my job. So I'm just going to finish off with hiss, hum. Don't know if I'm going to bother with the hum. I'll probably do ohm. So I'll do the hiss on the, moving back to the ethos. Going to go between them. I could be fooling myself, but because I'd expect it, of course, so got to be careful. But a smoothing out of the hiss, I'm suspect because of the foam. So if I'm just going to hold something, go between the two, starting with 33, the ethos. I get the right place, higher up, better, I feel. Definitely a difference in tone, it seems to me. Lower down, where am I? I'll do that again because I messed it up. Difference there as well in tone, and of course you could hear the wind noise on this, so it shows how that works. Just in breath, which had another slightly different thing to it, so here we are on the ethos. Closer together, slight difference in tone, but in terms of detail, closer together there. It's the higher ones where I feel there's more difference. Before I pass out from all that huffing and puffing. Ohm. Yeah. Oh. 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 Om. 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 Yeah. Enough of that. Going back to the... I'm going to stay on the 33 because I haven't used it for a while for this kind of thing. So, that you're not confused. Considerable difference in price. I wonder. I'm smiling because if you're a business, you've got to have increments, surely. So here's my little devil's advocate type thing, really. I'm thinking, does this have to be so much more expensive than the other one? Maybe it does. I don't know. And it's business, isn't it? What are you going to do? Part of me kind of thinking, well, seeing as you're producing this anyway, but it might be handmade. I think it's hand tweaked for sure. You see? It's expensive, isn't it? But let's say if it wasn't. Let's talk about, maybe not this one, but just generally. Once you're up and running and you're producing, and presumably these days you've got, but maybe not, more than you know what to do with. Wouldn't you use that in that? But if you did that, and people like me listen to them, something always exactly the same. I'll get this one, 699, and that one. Yeah. Would you then somehow degrade this? I'm not suggesting that they have, or anyone. Well, I know some people do this. I know, yeah, in a camera from back in the 60s, it's the same mechanism, but they just degraded it. And I've known several since to do with cameras where they do it's the same stuff, but they put firmware in the modern ones that doesn't allow you access to certain things. And in the old one, mechanical one, it was cheaper just to use the same mechanism, but to omit that particular setting on the dial. In fact, they did it so casually, if you like, that the setting was still there in terms of a click stop. It just wasn't marked with the engraving. So that's back in the 60s. So I don't know. Anyway, forget all that perhaps. Big jump, isn't it, to this? Am I tempted? Sorry, talk about myself. This is what I've been wondering. Using this for this now. Sorry. I know it's getting a bit long, isn't it? But every time I do that, because I haven't used it for a while, you see, for this. Now. All right, I'm going to finish because on my voice, to me, this isn't as generous. And generous for me isn't forcing. It's not like, here you are, go on, have some more to eat, go on, no, have some more, go on, it's not that. To me, when I use that word generous means have it all, please. So in that sense, I would say this is not as generous. Seeing as we're looking at high-end microphones here, for the factor of convenience, unless I feel it's necessary to go to the trouble of setting all. I use this because the kind of mics I'm looking at, this is well good enough. But if I'd have some mics that really push the envelope, I'm doing stage mics, as you know, then I might. Well, I would. I'll get this out. But I'm very happy for this, for what I do, as being high end. And if I need the highest of end, then thanks to Earthworks, I have this. But this is going to stay here for the most part, and this is going to stay where it stays for the most part. Okay. Keep well. See you next time.